How's everything?
I don't know how you met.
No, I'm Kelly.
Chiffon.
Nice to meet you.
A lot of orienting going on.
Yeah, a lot of re-situating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to just be patient, but
What is that? Well, training, but what else? Did just setting everything up for you?
yeah, I got through like a lot of the modules and stuff and been doing like starting to get into my SOI and
Good. A little different so far?
a little different.
Yeah, hopefully in a good way.
Yeah, I think, I'm just, like I said, it's like, it's nice to have more structure and, I'm hoping to,
Guidance.
yeah, hoping to still have that for a while before I can do a little bit.
We do.
We do, but they said it was fine.
Oh, you all do.
Yeah, we do.
You different one.
But
Are you sure group as well?
Yeah.
Awesome. Are you new to real estate or are you new to Keller Williams?
I've came to Keller Williams since September.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So she's fairly.
I'll kind of say, I'll be on my second year come May.
Okay. So where did you start?
EXP.
Ah.
Yeah.
You have a good company there. How was that experience for you? That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm meeting with
Definitely a place where the pros go. So grow.
there.
They
Yeah.
use that saying. And I feel like that's
Yeah. I'm being recorded, so I'm gonna stop it. But yeah, I'm meeting with somebody today actually from EXP that's been there 3 years. She's a capping level agent. She works as a nurse 3 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And she said she's ready to quit the nursing job because she is doing well in real estate, but she doesn't want to give up the job because that's her community and people. Because at EXP she has no one. And I'm like, come on for her.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so she's coming in today. We talked for a while, but yeah, it's highly dependent on your downline group or your upline group, whatever they call it, to see, how they engage you. And that's the problem because there is no leadership level of people that has a job to make sure you're,
Exactly.
successful and, so,
The
yeah.
mentorship program.
Well, it's very different. So
It's really.
yeah, so it's very different from being on a team,
But
but it's also very different from what we call our productivity coaching program, which we're relaunching that program here with Andy, who's who officially come tomorrow, but from his old brokerage.
Yeah.
So productivity coaching is a proactive approach to coaching and mentorship and training versus a mentorship program being what I call reactive, meaning you need help with something that you got yourself into something you need help and you call them, right? Where the productivity coach is working with you more like a team sort of.
Yeah.
Where you're working with them weekly to reach your goals, plan your business, do your, hold you accountable, do your lead
They
generation.
don't have that there.
Correct.
And
And it's,
EXP seemed like after the fact, like you're always
Yes.
after the fact.
yeah,
And that's scary to me,
Mhm.
whereas like to be proactive.
Yeah.
And get ahead of it before you're like scrambling.
Yeah.
But if you have to scramble, then that's okay. I mean, it's gonna happen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what we're gonna talk about today with Embrace Your Job, because a lot of times people getting into real estate don't realize what exactly you get to do every day, right?
Exactly.
So,
Maybe I should email James a letter.
so I usually start off with, what do we do as a real estate agent? Which in the material is, what are the 6 core competencies of being an agent? So what do we do? What do we get to do? What's our job?
help people,
help people.
a lot, I mean,
Well, what's the core? And maybe that's different than before you got into real estate and now what you know that you do. So before we got into real estate, what did we think real estate agents did?
Look at properties,
Show.
license to be nosy, I don't know.
Yeah, show property, right?
mhm,
Right?
And see what's out
Just
there.
help people buy and sell real estate, right? Now that you've been in real estate for a little bit, all of you have had some experience.
mhm.
What do you actually do?
Legion.
Legion,
Lead generate, right?
a lot,
And if we think about
babysit,
babysit, yeah. Well, if we think about any, which the first core competency is lead generation. Right? Because if we don't lead generate, we can't go show pretty houses. We can't have that flexible schedule we wanted and all the things that we thought that this was $1 million listing, right? But if you think about any business on earth, it's no different. It's just the way that it's portrayed is that I'm gonna get my license and the phone's gonna ring. Which sometimes could be the case if people trust you. And then, so know, like, and trust, right? They already trust you. But we have to let them know what we're doing. We have to talk to people and build that trust, right?
Is this material on like a board somewhere?
It is, do you have it?
You have section 1 up to 22. Yeah. 1.22.
Okay, so you don't have the next one printed. So you're, you can pull it from,
did they give you guys folders?
did they send it in?
Sure.
Did we have to?
She said.
So you could, so I wish these weren't so expensive, but they kind of are, but they're, you can buy a book. Because, and then they're bound, but.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know we probably can't follow along. Exactly. So
Let me, because you can even know what you want to. Okay. It is kind of on the slides too, but I'll try to, I just asked them to.
oh, thanks.
Okay, but what we're gonna talk about today is embracing your job, which is what we actually get to do. Which goes into the next sessions of Ignite, like next week, instead of generate leads for your database and things like that, we're gonna talk about kind of the fundamentals of what the job is and what it's not. And then being a fiduciary. And then some systems. So the 6 core competencies, the first one is we just talked about lead generate, capture and convert to appointments. So that's going to be important in that we actually ask for the business and get the appointment, because we can lead generate. Which I was this morning, I got a prospecting call from one of our own agents. I listed a property for rent on Zillow, my own property, because I'm buying another house. And she prospected me this morning. She didn't know it was me. So funny. I should have let her go with it, but I didn't. I was like, come on, it's Kelly. It was so funny though. I just love it. So yes, she didn't get the appointment, but she's gonna tell it to you. Because I stopped her, but she would have. But yes, so lead generating, capturing the contact information, and then converting that to an appointment. Present to buyers and sellers to get the agreement, so our listings and buyers appointments. What we all thought we did, show buyers and market sellers. Write and negotiate contracts, coordinate the sale to closing, and manage your money. Not their money, but your money. That's a big deal, right? Do we learn what cost of sale is yet?
No.
And then, We have expenses and cost of sales. Cost of sale is the cost of selling a house to you, meaning you only have that expense when you actually have a transaction. And then expenses are things that you pay for no matter if you sell a house or not. That makes sense? So think of it as a fixed and a variable expense. So your fixed expenses are your board dues and your tech fees and your. All the things you get to pay for every day, but not personal expenses, but business and being in business. And then cost of sale is like your cap or your split to Keller Williams or the team. So as we talked about, the first competency, which is lead generation, is the first priority. Because if you have no leads, you have no business, right? Your number one thing is lead generation in any single day or any time, because we don't have more leads. Like, let's say, like I had an agent, this was a couple years ago. She was a new agent. She quickly got about 4 deals going. And she did 4 deals in like 2 months, and then she had no business at all. So what we call that the real estate roller coaster, right? And we were going into a sales meeting and I was like, can I use you as an example, not to give you a hard time, but because really, in the conversation we got to have was, okay, you lead generated. Thank you, Lindsay, appreciate you.
It was a small one.
Yeah, you did lead generation, you got some deals, and then you serviced the clients, and we didn't lead generate during that time, and so now we have no pipeline going forward, right? So it is important that this is done every single day, even when we have deals, because we have. We need more deals after they close, we can't go in that cycle, and that's what causes the up and down of real estate agent, is if we don't lead generate every day. It is also important that we capture the contact information. So a good example, like I don't carry business cards. Which is odd, right? I don't even have any. I started in this position last June and I never even got cards. Why is that?
It's passive.
Because if I give you my card, what are you gonna do with it?
I'm gonna hold on to it, it's gonna fall into
In the
a
washing
crack
machine.
and never be seen again.
Right? But if I meet you and I get your contact information, who controls the follow-up?
I do.
So it's really easy to just hand someone your call me when you need me. Then I do not get your contact information. But if I say, no, I just don't have any cards actually, but let me get your phone number and I will follow up with you on whatever it is that we were talking about and an answer that I owe you. I think I was telling you this, but another trick is they cannot verbally lie to you. They can, but most often they're not going to. Where, like, for example, at an open house, this was Chris and I were talking about this. And you ask them to sign in on the sign-in sheet. And they're writing it down, it's real easy to write the wrong digit. But if you ask them to verbally say it and you write it down, it's a lot harder for them to lie. So they will give you their real contact information. Kind of interesting.
It's a good trick.
And then, so we want to talk to people. We want to get their contact information and we want to convert to the appointment. So anytime we are, I mean, the open house is the best example, right? So we're talking to them, they want to buy a house, but they're a year out. Okay, what do we do with that?
Get the information, put it into your phone and follow up.
But we
Put
could
them
get
in
an
a
appointment,
database.
right?
Yeah.
Because even though they're a year out, they might not actually be a year out because we haven't done a needs analysis yet.
Right.
We don't know anything about what their situation is. They may tell you they're a year out because they don't think they can qualify. they might be considering renewing a lease or not, and you mean like, oh yeah, next year. Kind of pushing you off, right? But our job is in the appointment to actually do that consultation with them, right?
Mhm.
So it's never really too early to ask for the appointment. Because they don't know what they don't know, you don't know their situation, and the whole point of that appointment is to understand how we can help them, to ask great questions, to find out more about them. And when I build that relationship with them, they can then refer me to other people in that year or however long it is, right? How many times have you heard an agent be like, I met with them 3 years ago and they finally bought a house?
A lot.
But we need to sell a house in 3 years also. Right? We need to build the pipeline for the future. So it's not too early to set that appointment. So our whole job, we're lead generating for contacts to add to our database and to set the appointment. Makes sense? The next one is to actually hold listing and buyer appointments to get signed agreements. Now we have to have a buyer agreement to do what? What does the law now say? What do I need a buyer agreement for?
In order to show the house.
Or to have a substantial real estate conversation.
Right.
That's new since you started, yeah. So. So it is different than before. There was about 17 states before the NAR settlement in 2024 that did require buyer agency agreements before that, and now it's required in all states. I actually sold real estate in Florida way back once upon a time. And that was considered a transaction broker state. And we're going to talk later in the material about being a fiduciary. But when you're a transaction broker, you actually have no fiduciary responsibility because you're a transaction broker for the transaction, not the client. So we did not need to get buyer agency agreements signed because we did not actually represent the buyer, we represented the transaction. Now that is all changed. In that we do represent the buyer, we do get buyer agency agreements. And that is required now for the settlement in 2024. And most people think it's just to show a property, but it is to actually consult a buyer, to have a substantial real estate conversation. Doesn't mean we can't do a needs analysis and understand what their needs are, but it does mean that in order to consult them about buying the house, you need to get that signed. So even when let's take that buyer that's a year out, we can still get that buyer agreement signed, because then they know they're committed to working with us, they understand how we get paid, they understand all of those things, right? You're gonna have other classes on the buyer appointment and the listing appointment. But what I want you to know is that who is the appointment of that? The buyer or the seller, right? So sometimes, and there are classes and things that teach like actually a listing presentation with a presentation, like slides and everything. I'm not a big fan of that. I am a fan of having a package and like you both met with me about joining Keller Williams. Did I present to you from a presentation?
No.
Did I have a presentation? I've given you a folder, but I have a folder. You have my folder. Okay. That has information. Did I give you one?
Yeah,
Okay. So it was more of a here after we're done talking, and here's all the stuff we talked about in this presentation, and that looks professional, right? So I would go to a listing appointment with a folder just like that, and it might have my presentation in there, but I'm probably not going to pull it out and go slide by slide. I might pull it out when I have questions about certain things, and I might say, oh yeah, we can talk about that. And here's an example of that, or here's a marketing plan or whatever, but I'm not going to present, I'm going to ask questions. Because if an agent goes into a seller and says, here's all the stuff I'm gonna do to sell your house. But that seller never finds out, I mean, so the agent never finds out what the seller's goal is. How fast they need to move, why they're moving, where they're going, what's important to them about the sale, is it time, is it money, is it ease? Is it, they don't wanna have a bunch of showings, so we need to do one big open house. We need to price it under the market so we get multiple offers, cause they wanna sell real quickly. They have a lot of time to move, I mean, we don't know, right? So if we just go in and say, here's my strategy. Is it one size fits all? So the most important part of those appointments is that it's about them. Do you know the stat on how many people hire the first listing agent they interview? What percentage of sellers?
80.
80%. So is it about the actual presentation? It's actually just about being first. 80% chance you're gonna get the listing if you're the first person in the door. It's like 70% with buyers. Which blows my mind, and it's more with sellers, but. Yeah, so the only thing I really need to do. What's the, now you know this, what's the thing they're looking for?
What are the buyer, the seller?
What is the seller looking for in the agent?
That they feel understood, I guess.
Trustworthiness and honesty are like two of the, like, local knowledge, trust is the top, like, 2 to 3, honesty, trust. When the home buyer survey or the home seller survey from NAR, it's always the top of the list is trust.
Do they say in that survey what that looks like to them? Like what makes them feel
They
like they
define
trust?
it like that, but it is the honesty and trust and the local knowledge. Is that was what they want out of an agent.
You almost think it's like trust is. Like first impression. I mean, usually I think like your first impression of someone, you can kind of like, do I trust them right off the bat? Maybe after talking to them, do I trust them?
Yeah, I mean,
Intuitive.
like Peter will say there's 2 types of trust, right? You've heard that from him before. So 1 is to trust me like as a person, as a friend, and then 2 is to trust my competency. So, when we say know, like, and trust, so the lead generation is I have to know more people. I have to get them to like me and build the rapport, and then I have to get them to trust me. Now you can trust somebody, I could trust you because you have not given me any reason to not trust you. But then I also have to trust you with your competency in real estate to handle my largest asset usually. So that is another layer of trust. And that comes from displaying competency in what we do, right? Having intelligent conversations about the value of your property or what needs to be fixed on it, or giving advice and consultation about it, right? So that part of the appointment is important because you're gaining their trust and knowing what you're talking about. So, and then, of course, we get those agreements. We get to do what everyone else knows we do, which is show properties and hold open houses for our listings and all those things. So, who wants to go show somebody 100 houses? Who knows that agent? Like, I showed my 50 houses to this client. Heard it, right? Why does that happen?
Poor communication, poor expectations, like not figuring out what the parameters are.
Yeah, well, expectation setting 1, right? 2 is there is the needs analysis part of that appointment. So if you're doing your job in the appointment and the consultation of understanding what their actual needs are and asking them great questions, like if somebody says, I want a 4-bedroom house and on an acre, you just go, okay. Or what do you say to that?
Which state?
Where? Yeah, well, where might be, but you might say, why is an acre important? Well, because I have a horse. Well, that's different than I just want some space and privacy. Because now I need to look into, can they have a horse there, right? Or I've got little kids. And I want them to have a yard, so you probably don't want the house I'm buying next week, which drops off into a lake. Okay, it's got a great lake view and has no backyard, and I'm like, yes, my kids are grown. But that house is not gonna be great for somebody with little kids that wants a yard for their kids, and they wanna put a swing set up, right?
Right.
So if they say, I want an acre, and then we just go in the MLS and we put that perimeter in there. And then what happens later? They send you this house like 2 weeks later and like, how come you didn't show me this one? And you're like, you said you wanted an acre, that's only half an acre. They're like, but it's perfect. And you missed it completely because you didn't realize they just wanted some privacy. They didn't, the acre part was not important. Or what's important about having 4 bedrooms? Well, I've got 2 kids and I'd love to have an office. Okay, could we have another office? Because what's the likelihood if we're gonna find a 3-bedroom or a 4-bedroom? There's probably 3 times as many 3-bedrooms out there, right? So if we could open up that criteria, but we didn't know that it wasn't because I actually need another bedroom. It's because I want another space that could not be a bedroom. And we talked about that with the sellers too, like asking great questions and understanding what their actual needs are so that we can present what our consultation will be, like what we say our prescription will be. There's a saying that says, prescribing without diagnosing is malpractice. We just go in and say, here's what we're gonna do. You didn't know what their problem was. All right. 4th competency is writing and negotiating contracts. Now this could be a place, if we haven't done a lot of transaction, that's a little scary. Well, the appointment too, but just know you have plenty of support with your team, your coach, with our brokers here. Don't worry too much about that piece. Do go to contract class, do read the contract. You know, if you ask one of those questions or like, what does the contract say? That might be an answer. Because why is the test to get into real estate as hard as it is? Because they want you to have reading comprehension, right? They want you to be able to read something and interpret it. Now, we are not attorneys, so we don't interpret them for our clients, but we do help them. We're basically just filling this, right? But we need to understand why is it important that we fill it in that number instead of that number, or what our deadlines are, things like that. So you all have help at this, because one of the hardest things about actually doing the first core competency and lead generation is, what if somebody said yes? There's people out there that don't go lead generate because they're actually afraid someone's gonna say yes. But you all have enough support around you. You're like, you know what? I don't know what's next. I'm gonna go ask. And that's totally fine.
Kelly, I think that kind of goes back to what you were saying about. I think it was like maybe in the presentation about like, honesty and trust, and I feel like it's easy for me at least to treat like presenting or like having more resources or like pretending like I know the answer as like a substitute for being confident, or like when it's really
fake it till you make it.
yeah, but
It's not.
I mean, and there's probably an aspect of that, but I think that it's I don't know. I think it's better to not pretend like you know everything. Because then you're not as able to be as present for like what their needs are in that listening.
Yeah, well, think about it. If you were hiring a real estate agent, do you expect them to know everything?
Is that how good your expectations are?
Some.
Probably not.
Some do,
But
but a
No.
reasonable person,
mhm,
no, but we do expect what?
consistency.
Or resourcefulness, right?
Yeah, that they'll find out.
That they're gonna find out and get back to you. Most people get upset about things because no one returned their call or got back with them, or us meeting with an agent, here in our office. And it was an old issue with someone that used to be on the team, and she, so-and-so never got back with me. And it wasn't She wasn't upset. She was just like, never got back with me, they never figured it out. And that was a problem. But normally it's like, hey, you know what? I told her, I don't know the answer, but I'm gonna find out for you. And then followed up with her yesterday. Hey, just want to let you know I'm still working on that for you. I found out about half of the answer, and here's what I found out so far. Say, you're dealing with the state, right? I was like, I have no idea. Let me get Lindsay. Okay, I'm the general manager of our 4 offices. I do not know everything. I'm like, I don't know. Let's go find out. And then with Lindsay's dealing with the state. You're dealing with the state, trying to figure it out. They don't even know. But what is your expectation there is that somebody gets back with you and figures it out. Not to know your exact situation and what happens every time. Because it's a different situation.
Right.
But the expectation, you would be very happy if they just got back with you with a plan. And said, here is what you should do next. But when they go, I don't know. But well, and no plan, that's the problem, right? So most reasonable people do not expect you to know everything. Now, what I will say, that most classes won't teach you about being a real estate agent. There's a lot of classes on here's how to do your job, here's how to do a buyer presentation, here's how to talk to people, here's how to do all this stuff. But no one says, go study the economic news and read the business news every day. And read, like I get several newsletters every single day that give me the headlines. And like what I need to know for that day for business and economic news. Because what do people with a higher net worth pay attention to?
Business and economic.
Like you should probably know what's going on with the stock market today.
Right.
Because let's see, yesterday it was up a little bit, today. So it's unavailable. Has that been a hot topic lately? So do people want to talk about it? So I should probably know what's going on, even if I don't have any money in the stock market. I probably should know that, which I don't like to look at it every day, but I do because people want to talk. Yeah, it's down today, right? That could be a reason somebody pauses their home search. So the more you can study about business and economics and how things like that affect money, because that's really what we're dealing with, the better. Because that is going to gain their trust that you know what you're talking about. When you can have an intelligent conversation about just markets in general. The Keller Williams also puts out the statistics every month. So Ruben, my favorite KW people, he's our chief economist at KWRI, Keller Williams Realty International. They do a like 20 to 30-minute YouTube video every single month on the stats, like the market conditions and unemployment and home sales and interest rates and affordability. And they put out that slide deck every single month. So I would definitely subscribe to that on YouTube. It's if you go to Keller Williams Realty International YouTube page, you can subscribe to the market update, some monthly market update. And it's usually about 20 to 25 minutes long, and once a month. And it has the national numbers for economic and housing data, and he goes over it. And then Gabby, who's the MAPS leadership, the MAPS, I don't know, coaching director. Which we're gonna get into the fiduciary part.
Is this one? Or is it?
Yeah, so this is the page. But there's usually, yeah. Yeah, It's on there somewhere.
You said Ruben and Gabby?
Yes.
Okay, I'll search that.
There, yeah, it might not be up for, but yes, it's on there. You can, probably connect to, we'll find it, anyway. Okay, so the next thing, once we get, we get contracts, is to coordinate sales to closing. I'm a big fan, and you guys on the team have a TC or a transaction coordinator for your transactions. But as a newer agent and throughout your career, I'm a big fan of hiring a transaction coordinator. So a transaction, we have a partner in our office, you guys have your own on the team, but it's called Two Gals on the Laptop, but they're a company, but they're a partner of ours. And they know all of our systems, they know command, they know the contracts. So they will coordinate the contract to close in the paperwork and the follow-up and the scheduling of things for you. Now, you are the agent on the transaction, so you're still responsible for hitting deadlines and making sure that you're negotiating home inspections, appraisals and all the things. But they will help with the back end, and it usually costs, let's say, somewhere between $300 and $500 a transaction, depending on what you're asking for. But I highly recommend, and it comes out of your check at closing, that would be a cost of sale, because you're only paying for it when it closes. But I highly recommend it. Like, there's kind of two schools of thought on that. One is, I'm a new agent, so I need to learn everything. Let me do it myself, and I need more money in my pocket. However, paying for a TC, they have actually done hundreds of transactions, more than you have. And so they're going to keep you on track more than you even know how to as a newer agent.
Right.
And they know what they're doing, so if you follow along, and then you're gonna make sure, okay, that is the right deadline, okay, yes, we need that form. But they already know the forms, they know the compliance process with Keller Williams on how you're getting paid. So they're gonna make sure everything's submitted timely, all the signatures are done, things get sent out. And remember that story I told you about the new agent that had 4 transactions and then didn't have any? Because she went to coordinating the sale to closing as her job, instead of doing all 6 core competencies at once. And you went just to this. Huh?
That takes a lot of time in here, cause at ASP, like, we have to do everything. You know, we have to submit the contract. So we have to put the order in for title. It's like, we have to do completely everything.
Right, so is it worth, if you weren't on the team, because you're paying a split to the team as a cost of sale for those services.
Right.
But if you're not on the team, would it be worth hiring a TC?
Yeah.
Do you think there's a certain threshold where that's more worthwhile, like a certain number of sales per year?
Every single one.
So you don't think like. Because I feel like, because my business for certain people isn't picked up enough to even have a transaction.
Yeah, but if you spend that time doing the paperwork and the compliance and scheduling stuff with the title company, what could you be doing in that? What's the opportunity cost of spending the time doing that?
That could be legion. Instead of focused on. I gotta get this
Exactly.
paperwork re-signed.
Right. So I coach a lot of agents that are in a higher level of production, and they are always like losing sleep over stuff. They're getting phone calls about everything, and I'm like, use a TC. And they're like, well, I just do it better than that. Do you? Because this is what they do all day. They're sitting at a computer doing this all day. Are you? But why do they think they're better at it?
They don't want to give up control over it.
They don't want to give up control, right? They think it is
to
hard.
give up control.
Now,
It is, but
who's hired people in their career before? Anybody? You've hired people. You probably hired a lot of people in your career. When did you not want to give up control?
There were a lot of times I just wish somebody else would just do this because it was so redundant and I knew how to do it and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I had other things to do. But then, you know, there were things like I just can't expect that person to go through what I go through. I just would take it on myself. That way I know what I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
And anything unexpected, I'll just deal.
Now, was there a time where you hired somebody that was a lot more trustworthy and competent than others, where it was easier to delegate? Yes. And then there's times where you hire people and you're like, I can't trust them with anything, and you probably should have fired them a long time ago and you didn't, because you felt bad, right?
Yes.
So like early in my career, I was that I'm gonna do it myself because I can do it faster and better. All the time. And it got me so far. But it wasn't until I became a manager and a leader that I had to really figure out who the best people were to hire, because I didn't like to delegate because I didn't trust the people that I was delegating to, because they were not my people to delegate. Like, I didn't choose them. I didn't, they were. So when I started building my own teams and figuring out who I could trust, then delegation became so much easier, right? So most agents do not delegate those because they don't trust that it's going to be done right. But I will say, and you might have to try a few TC people if you don't like the ones you hire or whatever, but there's people out there that are really, really good at what they do. And that's the reason that they have a whole company around it. Or they make their money doing that. And they love doing that. And I also have agents like, I love the paperwork part. Great. You're in the wrong job.
I mean, if I wasn't an agent, I'd probably try to be a TC.
Now, that's fine. I could be a TC, probably not at this part of my career, but earlier. So that would be redundant and tedious to me. But I could do that. But I'd rather, my time is more valuable to lead generate. Even in what I do now. If I can meet with Chris, Shannon all day long to hire Keller Williams because of the experience she had at EXP, the experience you had and good and bad, right? There's no bad experience because we learn from it. And there's great people out there. But I believe in what we do at Keller Williams, so I get to share that, and it's changed my life. So I want to, like, recruiting to me is I get the opportunity to put you in a better position to change your life. So that's the highest and best use of my time. Not doing paperwork. And I didn't do your onboarding paperwork either. Could I do it? Yeah, I know how to do it. I've onboarded a ton of agents. But I'm not. So the same thing as being an agent, your highest and best use of your time is in more appointments, lead generating for more appointments. So I'm an advocate for that TC, especially as a new agent, because they know more than you do. And you can feel confident it's going to get done. And you can ask them the stupid question. Hey, how does that actually work? And they will tell you because they want your business. And they will help you learn. You'd be like, hey, I think the deadline is wrong. And they'll be like, no, here's why it's right. And you're like, got it. And you learn through it. And then they have all these templated emails. Like, I'm going through a transaction right now. My agent, is, so I get these emails. I don't know if I can find one right now. But they're all like, here's what's going on and here's what's happening next. And yeah, so this is the you're almost there email. And it's like, you've gone through your loan, the title, they're working on this is what they're doing. They sent me how to set up my electric and my water and how to get the gas set up and how to transfer it over. And here's tips on moving and where to get boxes. Do you need that?
No.
Isn't that cool that they did that? Plus, if you really want to do it by yourself, hire a TC for a couple transactions and copy other systems. Copy all their emails. And then you have them. Is that worth $400?
Definitely.
Definitely.
I mean, because that it's more. It always allows for you to focus on your business.
Yep.
What do you recommend as far as lead generating? I know it's really big on your source of influence, your area, your referrals and this and that, but for those of us that don't have that. I've thought about golden letters, like I've have some written out to send out.
So there's hundreds of ways to lead generate, okay? You have to do what you're willing to do in the longer term. I'm not saying do something for years that doesn't work for you, but you have to stick with something. So it has to be something you like doing and it brings you energy. So who's had a job that actually brings you energy before? You actually get excited to go to work, and after work, you're like, I could go hang out with my friends, and I don't want to go home and go to sleep. Who's had a job like that?
Some days.
Some days. Okay, that is different than the job that drains you. Picking on her, 'cause I know. Go to work, literally, that's why she got into real estate, right? I have a job that does not bring me energy, and I'm sick and tired when I get home, and I don't want to do anything, and it's draining, right? So lead generation, you need to find the one that brings you energy, or the job that brings you energy, because your first job is to lead generate. I was meeting with Nathan years ago, and he said, I door knock. I said, great, how many deals have you done in door knock? 0. Yeah. But my broker says I have to door knock. Why? Well, that's what he does. Okay, I hate door knocking. I just don't even want to go to work every day, and I hate doing it, so stop.
Right.
And he's like, stop. But stop door knocking. And he's like, but that's what my broker says I have to do. I'm like, why? Just because he likes to do it doesn't mean you need to do it. Does it work? Yeah, it does work. It does work. If you're the person that wants to go door knock, does it work? You've door knocked.
I like it, but I haven't had a ton of success with it.
Okay, well,
But
that probably depends on
it can be
the
energizing.
amount of it.
Yeah.
But for you actually go, I would like to go door knocking, and I want to go out and maybe I get some exercise, talk to some people, win-win. It's not draining. Heck, he didn't come in and say, I hate door knocking and I never want to do it again. He's like, I door knock. And maybe I need to adjust my strategy a little bit to be more effective at door knocking, but I like to do it. That was the conversation. So I should still go. What do you like to do?
I mean, I've done that, I go to a lot of events,
Okay, so you like to go to events. What kind of events?
all type of events, networking events, social events.
Yeah. Do you meet people?
Yeah, a lot of people.
Do you get their contact information?
I do. I go to the store, I talk to people, my son's swimming team, lessons, I talk to people, when we go to the pool, I talk to people. Like, I love to talk to people, like, everywhere I go, I talk to people, and my thing
Has
is.
that led to business?
It has some, I have clients now, but they have things to work on, they have their credit to work on, so they're just filling
Your
my
business?
pipeline.
Okay.
But it's like, where did I go to get the now business? I guess is what I mean. Like my spirit is all,
I would definitely suggest open houses for you.
I do. And I will say it is that,
You got some from open houses?
but my follow-up. I will say I've missed a few because of my follow-up, because I've been, yes. I did so many open houses with EXP and had so many opportunities, but because I was scared and I felt like I was too incompetent, I let
You're
it
afraid
go.
of yes.
Yes,
Do you feel that way now?
sometimes I do.
Okay.
Because I have.
You feel like if someone said yes, you have the resources and people surrounding you to get it done.
I mean, knowing that I have them around me now to get it done, I'm ready, but yeah. It's just, I still have that scarcity.
You've got to figure that out. Because if you are afraid of the yes, it doesn't matter if it's a now client sitting in front of you, because you're not going to ask for the business.
And I'm not afraid of the yes. It's just making sure I have the back people. Do you get what I'm saying?
I do.
So. Cause I'm not afraid of it. It's like, I literally. I know I can go out here and get this. It's just need to.
So another method of that could be partnering with another agent. So some money out of a transaction is better than 0. So if you don't feel like you can. Get the job done, or you don't wanna follow up with this person because you're just not sure. Partner with somebody else for your first one or two. Cause half of something,
It's just,
I'm not saying you have to do that. I think being on the team, you should have enough resources that you should be able to get that, but that feeling of. Not having the full competency is holding you back. But I would highlight, if you like the people and the events, make open houses your thing, because that's the knack, it's more now business than somewhere else. The open house is your car sales lot. You have people walking in the house that have at least an idea of purchasing or selling a home.
yeah, I mean, I did one this weekend and. At the potential to have a client, but she's working with a relocation company. And
Artists.
Sylvia, something like that. Slut, something.
Where
She works at Kroger's.
Yeah,
Serva, that's what it is, Serva.
okay, I'm not sure how they work, but, it's possible you can still get that deal, or they might. But anyway, we can talk offline about it, but, yeah, I mean, that issue though, that we just talked through is it's gonna be there until you find that confidence in yourself, sure.
I feel like.
And I have it.
And I same with the follow-up, like I met with this agent like 6 months ago. She's top producing agent in Berkshire Hathaway. We had a great rapport, like eventually she was gonna join, but she was referred to me by someone else that at Keller Williams, who's no longer at Keller Williams, and they're like friends, and I was like, oh god, I don't wanna call her, I don't wanna tell her they're not longer here, and I was like, in my head, I had this story. And I didn't call her for like 2 months. And I was like, screw it, I'm just calling her. Cause I had this bias in my head that like, she didn't want to talk to me anymore. Cause the person who referred her to me is no longer at Keller Williams. And she answers the phone, she's like, hi Kelly. And she talks to me for 25 minutes. Doesn't even mention the other person. And I go, hey, you probably know that so-and-so is no longer at Keller Williams. She goes, yeah, I saw something on Facebook, yeah. And didn't care a thing about it. I was like, she's like, oh, I'm so glad you called me, and blah, 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 here's what's going on with me, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my God. But that bias we have about like, oh, they're not ready yet, we're telling ourselves story. It's not the actual story. And so get that out of your head when you're following up. They don't need to hear from you, whatever. They are not sitting there thinking, why hasn't she called me? Or, but when you do call them, they're happy to hear from you generally, right? Because they're not sitting there thinking about it. But if you never call them, they're not gonna think about you.
And you're right, because you're right.
They're thinking about the next person who followed up with them.
And I feel like I have to work on that, because I also had another open house guy that I followed up with yesterday. And I'll be holding number coverage. So it's like, if I would have just,
Somebody else followed up first.
would have just kept up every day or every week, then he would have been like, hey, this house, I'm doing it. But I don't know if he used a realtor, but.
The last core company is managing the money. We talked a little bit about it, but it's basically. Not spending all your money, but paying your expenses. We talked about cost of sale and stuff, but the next slide is exactly what you're talking about right now, right?
It is mindset, like,
It's all mindset.
if I literally would have just just kept it up and calling them. And following up every week or whatever, then boom. So I have a few now since yesterday I followed up with them. I'm like, I don't want to lose the last few. So I have a few now I'm following up with today to make sure
I will say, and it's different what I do now in recruiting versus selling homes,
Mhm.
but I'm pretty relentless in the follow-up. Because it's usually not about you, why they're not answering the phone, it's about them, like they will eventually answer the phone. And say, oh my gosh, thank you for calling me, my mom passed away, or this happened. And it was not about you, they weren't ignoring you. Like I have a maths coaching client and she was like not responding to me for 2 weeks. And missing our calls and I'm like. And I finally just texted her, I'm like, hey, I can use the money, like, cause she's on like a pre-contract for it, and I was like, hey, I can use that money for my other client. And she said, she replied, I'm so sorry, like her mom is sick. She's like, well, I really wanna have our call, like, but I had followed up with her like 5 times. And she ignored me. Now, it happens, they're real estate agents, but I know I followed up with people for years and they're like, I'm joining because you kept following up with me. Like, I will hire you because you didn't let me down, because you just kept asking, even though I ignored you. Don't think about, don't think about the rejection and stuff in the follow-up, just keep calling, keep texting, keep reaching out. Hey, I saw this house, I thought of you. Hey, I saw this new loan program, I thought of you. Hey, I saw this, I thought of you. Like the value of the follow-up is important. It's not just, hey, how are you? But it's, hey, you said that this was your next step. What help do you need doing that? Or, hey, you said you were gonna do this by this time. Like accountability is important too. Because they need that help to reach their goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because now I've got a seller and I'm like, I haven't followed up. I went to go visit him a month ago and he was paying. So yeah,
Alright.
to follow up and just keep doing it and keep doing it. Eventually it's gonna show them. That you can-
So
I'll say that's why I'm here right now, because she called. I had a telephone appointment scheduled with Tara.
yeah,
And you called and said that she was out of town. And then I think it slipped my mind that like I was actually supposed to come in here and I was like, oh no. But we're off the phone and I have to go in there and I was at an appointment and I told you I would call you after my appointment, but you just called right away. And I was like, oh, I'm taking this call. So she's like, he's doing my hair and I'm like,
yeah.
so.
I did what I said I was gonna do.
You did,
Right.
and in the meantime, I was talking to someone from EXP who got me in the first place. Because I got out of it for a while, and then, so I called him back and I was like, I'm trying to figure out what I should do and where I should go, and I was like, this is what I didn't like about EXP. He goes, oh, I'll get you with the Hildebrands or whatever, if that's what you're looking for. And you might have to pay him a little more, but you can get in there. But she got that phone call in, set me up, I got in here, I was like, I don't need to talk to EXP. I like this. What's that?
Yeah.
It was-
And that's what that other agent did
Yeah,
to get them under contract, right? They got the appointment, they got the consultation, they got into that conversation. So we're not lead generating, remember, we're not lead generating just for the contract, we're lead generating for the appointment.
right.
No matter how long they say, because how long is the normal transaction?
How long does it take?
Yeah, how long does it take? I meet someone in an open house today.
If I met someone at an open, okay, so I met a client at an open house, my first transaction.
30
And
days?
yeah, it literally,
You're lucky.
it literally took 30 days.
Well, that's awesome. And that's probably the fastest,
Mhm.
right? So I meet somebody, maybe they're qualified, maybe they're not, gotta go through that process, gotta have an appointment, gotta sign an agreement, all the things that we just talked about. Gotta find the right property,
Mhm.
gotta go show the right properties.
Mine was already qualified, I think I showed her.
So you got the good side of it.
Yeah,
but
my first one was like
they're all not all like that.
I know, they were like, this is never like this,
But
but
30 days is minimum, 60 to 90 days is probably more like it for normal, right?
mhm.
So there's a lot of follow-up and keeping doing what you said you were gonna do in that time, right?
It is.
Okay. So we only have one. Well, a house. Yeah, I'm scared a lot, but. Thoughts about what we talked about so far? About your core competencies?
What's next?
Alright, well, let's talk about functionary versus fiduciary. So. If you if you hire someone to fix your car. And they don't really focus on your needs, they just fix the car and wanna get paid. And they don't build the relationship with you. Like during or after the job. And then you have a different car repair company that listens to you, anticipates your needs, helps you make the decisions, educates you on the process, is a partner to you in that process, keeps you updated, and follows up with you after they completed the job. What's the difference?
Fiduciary, it's not. Well, it's just transactional, it's just.
Yeah, another way to look at it is transactional versus relationship, right? Who are you gonna go back to?
The relationship building, the fiduciary, the person you trust, the person that actually cares.
Yeah. And it's also in our code of ethics of the fiduciary duties, right? That we have to take our clients' best interests to heart because we can't just do it for a paycheck.
Right.
We can't consult them to buy a house that's not right for them because what's gonna happen?
They're gonna put it back on the market.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be upset,
They're
they're
gonna
not
be
gonna
upset.
refer us.
Right. Oh, right.
Not to mention it's against the code of ethics and your license, but it's you're not gonna build that sustainable business over time when you just chase that transaction for a commission. When you actually said, you know what? I know you like this house at first glance, but in our consultation, we talked about you needing X, Y, and Z. Does this really fit that?
And that's the thing, like, I met with a buyer this weekend and he kept calling me all week. I wanna go see this house, I wanna go see this house. Well, sir, let me meet with you so we can discuss the process and we sign an agreement. Literally, he was clueless. He wasn't aware of the earnest money, he wasn't
Yeah.
aware of closing costs, he wasn't aware of inspections. He just thought the bank approved me for $350,000.
Sounds good, I'm just gonna buy this house tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of people have past experience with agents.
Mhm.
Does that mean they know what they're doing?
No.
Not at all, right? Probably need a little more consultation, to be honest.
I have
This,
and you know. I think this is why I need to start to. Other agents will, like, I'm active, but I've only sold 3. I had a client come up through and she wanted to work with me, however. She met with another agent and the other agent told her that I'm not active. And that I haven't sold that many. And she has,
The code of ethics, but okay.
it is definitely against the code of ethics, and I feel like, how did I just? Like, you can do that, like,
No.
because the client said, well, she's currently active and she just had a listing and she just sold, well, honey, she hasn't sold more than me. And just because she has a listing doesn't mean that I'm incompetent. So,
okay, well,
how do you?
yeah, well. Thoughts about that. Just don't be that person. Right, you do the right thing. So, in your material, there is the list of what's a functionary and a fiduciary, so just take a look at those and keep those things into. Perspective when you're meeting with people, like we talked about knowing data, right, knowing the markets and stuff, so. A functionary processes the data, a fiduciary interprets the data. This is why it's important to you and yourself. This is why the price is what it is, it's not just this is what it is. You're involved in the decision making because you've done a needs analysis, you understand their needs and you can help them make that decision versus just. Saying, you know, what do you wanna do? Well, why did they hire you? Right. Like when I go get my hair done, I'm like, you do, this is what I kinda want, you do what's important, like, I don't know how to do it. And I literally tell them, I don't know, you're the expert. Tell me what you think we should do. Cause if I go in there and be like, here's how I think you should do my hair. It's gonna be messed up.
Right,
I have no idea.
right. And then,
So I want them to consult me, like, this is kind of what I want it to look like. What do you think the path is to get there?
Sometimes they say magic.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I've heard that.
But-
Magician.
And that's, that's fine, because that's what they went to school for, and that's their competency, and, they're a fiduciary to my hair, I hope. But anyway,
yeah.
You can tell I used a functionary.
yeah.
Lots of. What I see here is like, this, the functionary is like an assembly line and the fiduciary is like craftsmanship.
Yeah,
I mean, if you. They just gotta take
the
pride.
functionary is like we don't have a lot of Redfin agents here, but they're like that. They just transactional.
That's how Redfin agents are.
Yeah.
Why is that? Is it just like,
Well, the last thing on there, which is minimally paid versus highly paid. So they just want the nice.
gotcha.
Okay, we're like running out of time, but. She's not gonna walk.
We ran this yesterday too. We ran out of time yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about board. Did you guys talk about board yesterday?
Yeah,
Yes, okay.
yeah, but
Okay,
not,
okay.
not everybody was here soon.
Okay. So Ford is the way to connect with your sphere. So you asked the question about like, how do I get more leads, right? I said, but sphere. Now, family and occupation recreation rates. So this is a conversation framework. Because lead generation can also, so I want you to think about it as just building relationships and making more friends. You are not going to force someone to buy or sell a house on your timeline or become your client, right? The one thing you can do is build more relationships and make more friends that know you, like you, and trust you, and then you work on the trust with the competency part, right?
Mhm.
So if I want to do more transactions, I need to meet new people. I need to build my sphere of influence large enough that I have enough people that are buying and selling or referring to me. And so a lot of people go, like I was meeting with an agent, and she's like, I don't call my sphere. Okay. By the way, she used to be a teacher in the Indian Hills School District.
So she has a whole wide range there.
Yeah, why would you not call your sphere?
Right.
Well, she doesn't want to sell to them. She doesn't want to ask them for business. Okay, you have the wrong idea of calling your sphere. You're actually calling your sphere to have a better relationship. To have a relationship with them. Because if I don't have a relationship with them and they have a real estate need, who are they gonna call?
Someone else.
Not me, because I never developed that relationship. So the point of Ford and the lead generation is not for, and I hate to say it to you, it's not for the now business. We shouldn't call people on our database that we just think are gonna move this year. We should call everybody. Or
Right.
text or email or invite to events. Because about 6% of our database is gonna move this year. But another 10% can be referred, like 10% of your people will refer you to someone else they know. So if I have 100 people in my database, likely I can get 16 transactions out of 100 people.
See, I've got some referrals. I'm not saying that I don't have the source of influence and they're not shooting me referrals. I'm just nurturing them all right now.
Yeah.
Like a whole lot of them have a whole lot of credit.
So you want to make sure they know how to refer you
Okay,
and make you're gonna make them your little sales force.
okay.
I was talking to a team leader client of mine and she was meeting with an agent at another firm that was not interested in becoming Keller Williams. But then that agent referred her another new agent, so she had her own brokerage. She goes, here's a new agent that I don't want because I don't have time to train them on everything. That's a great referral. I'm not buying right now, but here's someone who is.
Yeah.
Right, so she had an appointment, she lead generated, she had an appointment with somebody. They're not interested in moving right now or whenever. But here's someone else that I know that is interested in what you have to offer. So think about that when you're meeting with people. So if I go to coffee with somebody, they're like, I want to buy a house, but it's probably 3 years away. You know what? Just want to have coffee with you. Get to know you a little bit more. And then you can, real estate conversation just comes up, right? It's natural. Because that's what Ford is. So family. What happens in families that they need new houses?
They talk about babies.
Right, the 5 Ds. Right? Death, divorce, diamonds, diapers, stuff,
And I don't know the other.
diplomas.
Hmm.
Diplomas, yeah. So family.
Oh, yeah.
Hey Chris, how are you? How's the family?
Pretty
Oh,
good.
good. My kid's about to graduate from college and blah, 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 blah. We're gonna downsize and they'll literally bring up real estate without you even asking, right? Occupation. What happens with people's occupation?
They move, they get a better job,
Yeah,
they lose a job.
they lose a job, they make more money, they move. There's someone's relocating right now that you met, right? So we ask them about their job. Yeah, how's work? Oh, it's all right. I just actually talked to somebody this morning. Just got accepted another position at another company. Well, there might be a real estate need there, right? Recreation. What are you doing for fun?
Summer hit.
What vacations are we
Swimming all the
taking?
time, Vacation.
And then there's another version of this, frog, which is goals, or port, which is dreams. Well, what happens when, what do people dream about?
Retirement.
Yeah, your friends are retiring, right? Even though you do not look them. But yes, your friends are retiring, right? So what happens when they retire?
Downsize, move. Upgrade.
Yep. So they have real estate needs and all these things, but did we call them because we thought they were gonna transact business?
No,
Did we actually care about these things?
we do.
Not a trick question.
Yeah.
There's two ways, I mean, sometimes we do. Should. Some people are more transactional than relational. I will tell you, I had an agent, he was our rookie of the year in 2017 or 18, he did 39 transactions his first year in real estate. He was a cold caller, prospect expires, I told you, I got a prospect called school. He was the most transactional person you ever met. He did not care about their family or their friends, nothing, he's a great guy. But he's very transactional. He doesn't sell real estate anymore.
Exactly, and that's
He does investments and flips and Airbnbs, but he does not sell real estate anymore.
because he didn't build his relationships. And
Because how many of those past clients sold and bought with somebody else or didn't refer him? He sold a lot of real estate when he was active in real estate. And he did what he had to do and he made a lot of money and he turned that into an investing empire. That's what he does now. And it's and it's more of his sweet spot than developing relationships. It just wasn't for him. That's okay, but that's not gonna build a business that sustains you and you don't have to cold call or go form other relationships every day, right? Because it's not a referral based business. He had to prospect to get new business. But if you actually do care about them in their life, this gets so much easier. But you do it because you really care. And you want to know what's going on with them. And you want to call and catch up and see how their kid did at the soccer game. And they're, that is authentic relationship building that will work. Is it now business?
And I didn't mean now business.
No, there's
like,
nothing wrong with
let
what
me
you said.
Go out there.
Nothing wrong with what you said.
Like get now, but I mean like more of building that relationship. Where other places to go outside of what I'm doing, because I do go to recreation networking. Like I just reached out to a lady that we went to the pool. My son met her son. They were playing in the pool. Well, I guess because my phone number, her number's in my phone, she popped up on my Instagram. So when she popped up on my Instagram, I sent her the
So
giveaway we were doing with.
is that person in
Inside.
your database?
She's in there now.
Okay.
We talked on the phone. She's in there now.
So that's the biggest mistake. is not actually collecting the data and getting the contact information in the system. So we have command. So you should have a goal of every single day, how many contacts to add to command. Are you guys on command or are you on Rivet? What are you?
Follow.
Follow boss, Taylor, follow. So. You should have a system set up that every single time you meet somebody and get contact information, it goes into a system. That is the biggest challenge as you get busy in real estate. You start off now, but you will get busy and that system will not be there. And then you will become transactional.
And that's what happened at EXP.
Yeah.
I did not for the life of me have my systems built up like I do now.
Because okay, let's imagine we're all 2 years from now. How many deals a month can we do without putting things into a system and having reminders to follow up, things like that?
I can't imagine.
You know,
We could probably
we
do
do some.
2 or 3 deals a month without having to use the system. You naturally in your head, you can remember, right? Could you, 2
But
deals a month?
Why would you?
Well, why, but you could. Right? You could remember, and how many leads a week do you need? How many appointments a week do you need to do 2 deals a month?
At least more than 30.
No, like
At least-
like leads, like or let's call it appointments. How many appointments a month do you need to do to go on to have 2 deals a month? Probably like 2, because they hire the 80% of the sellers hire the first
So
agent that
say
does
like
it, right?
10 or 15.
Well, maybe, but probably like 3 to 4. So if I have an appointment a week, I can do 2 deals a month. Eventually, like when this is rolling. Okay. So I don't really need a CRM or a system to remember to call 4 people back in a month. But what happens if I don't set up the system now is that I hit what we call a ceiling of achievement really fast. Because now I'm stuck at 2 deals a month or 1 deal a month. Because I forgot to call that person back. They went under contract with another agent because I forgot about them. Because I don't have a system that I work from every day. And there's a lot of great people in real estate that just naturally have an ability to remember stuff. But it only takes them so far. There is a limit. There's a ceiling. Because you just can't do it. And then you're worried about everything that's going on in that transaction because you didn't hire a TC. And then you forget about 10 people.
I think you're right about it.
Kelly, so when, we talked about Ford and, I've been starting to do calls with my sphere, and I think one of the hurdles that I feel is I'm fine talking about those things, but it feels more transactional to make that ask, even for just the database to stay in touch on that same call. Are there systems or methods that you feel are pretty effective at getting people into the database who are in your sphere?
Yeah, I mean, you could say something like, hey, I'm working on a newsletter and I'd love to include you in it or something like that. If it doesn't naturally go there, it wouldn't necessarily do it because you already have their contact information. You can put them in your database, right? So like you're asking for permission to follow up with them for real estate, right? Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
if you only have their phone number or address or something.
So then I would say like, hey, I'd love to get your email because I send out new listings from our team. I know you're not on the market right now, but I'd love to just include you in these. Something like that. People will give you their email address though, like find something to follow up with them about. Hey, I know you asked me about X, Y, and Z. I wanted to look into that for you. And if you know the answer.
So like, is that the same sense of you have people in your database that you haven't spoken to? How do you break that barrier? Because I think that's what's holding me back, because I do have a lot of people in my database that I used to work with that I'm like,
Are they sitting there thinking about why you haven't called them?
and they like my stuff on Facebook. I just have.
They're not thinking about it at all.
But how do you break like?
You just do it. You get over yourself.
That's what I'm thinking, because I know I'm gonna have that struggle.
I
just
just
go,
you know what, I use the, hey, I was thinking about you. Hey, I saw your Facebook post. People reach out to me, I had somebody message me, they're not real estate. But I posted a tournament that my daughter and I played in on Saturday. And he looked like I had somebody message me about it, like, and he started a conversation. He's not even doing it for real estate, but you could do it. Hey, I saw you had a great successful event at whatever. I want to say congratulations. How are you? They're like, oh my gosh. And then what do they ask you?
How are you?
And what do you get to say?
I'm new to real estate.
You're doing great. I actually started a new career. I don't know if you know, but I've been doing real estate for the last year or two. And it's been really cool. Okay. And then you say, hey, do me a favor. If you come across anybody that's looking to buy or sell, I'd love to be connected with them. Can you make sure you do a 3-way text? Okay. Try that. You have to ask for it, right? You have to teach them how to refer you. Like, hey, just do me a favor. If you hear of anyone looking to buy or sell, can you let me know right away?
I think it's okay to ask, and apparently, like, that's what politicians do when they're going to get reelected. Because I was told you have to ask people to give you money for your campaign.
You don't get what you don't ask for.
They told me you have to ask. You're not gonna like it, but you have to do it. And I thought that is the most horrible thing. I've gone my whole life trying not to get help from anybody. And you're going to ask somebody for money?
If you had a friend that opened a new coffee shop, would you go buy coffee? Yeah. Would you would you say, hey, my friend's got a new shop, it was amazing, and you should go over there?
Yeah.
People want to help you, but people don't know how to help you. So you have to teach them how to help you. So like I don't sell anymore, but I play pool competitively. I know a lot of people across the country, like I'm flying to Philly tomorrow. And they will ask me about real estate, even though I don't bring up real estate in the pool world at all. But somebody will ask me something tomorrow about real estate. And they know like I don't sell, but they don't know what I do, but they're like, you're in real estate. And I'm like, yeah. And so I'll say something like, yeah, I don't sell anymore, but if you need someone, please let me be the first one. Like I will refer you and I'll get you the right person because I have hundreds of great agents. Because if I don't say that, they just know, well, she doesn't sell anymore. Okay, I can help them. And so I make sure I tell them that. Just like if you're traveling, like, no, I'm actually licensed in Ohio, but we have a network of 150,000 agents that I can help you and get that referral. Oh, didn't know that. So letting them know that, like, are they upset that you told them? Let me get your email. So you got to be authentic. Like something might work for you, honestly. I was thinking about like, there's a guy, he has one of those one pagers. I think you find him and connect, but he goes to like certain people, it's either breakfast, coffee, or dinner, but like once a week with somebody in his sphere. Not a client, just someone in his sphere. So he purposefully does either a breakfast, a coffee, or a dinner every single week with somebody. That's not about buying or selling real estate. But what does that allow you to do?
Relationship.
Well, it costs you $20 for a coffee shop, but is that worth lead generation every week?
Yeah.
We're gonna spend the money on something anyway, right? I mean, I don't care what you like to do, go do it, right? You mentioned your son swims?
Yeah, he likes to swim, basketball. I talk to everybody that I see when I'm there.
So
It's just a matter of me collecting their information.
do you have opportunity to like volunteer? So one of the easiest things is, use your, like, if you have an opportunity to be like a team mom or collect, sometimes like. You know, you wanna get a coach a gift or something and you're collecting donations and you get everyone's email and then you email them from your KW email.
I've thought about,
And it's so, cause like, they're like, oh,
doing like Popeyes for his school.
yeah, bring the teachers a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff. Any of that will work, right? It's just doing what works over and over and over again until you get the result. But yeah, I mean, just using your email for real estate instead of your personal email. You're not asking for anything, but it's in their face.
Right.
And we're allowed to do that, right? Okay, okay.
Absolutely. My first deal was volunteering at a school.
Well, I've been thinking, a lot of people.
My twin sister sells a lot of real estate. She has a podcast, Millionaire Real Estate, I should say. She came to my daughter's volleyball game. And she was wearing her Keller Williams jacket. And this lady, so it was like a middle school volleyball game. And there's like maybe like 30 people in the gym. And this lady like comes up to her and says, "Are you a real estate agent? I need to buy a house." She's like, "What?" And she set the appointment right then and there, and she sold her house. But why did she feel comfortable in that environment?
Because she came, I mean, she's in an environment.
Because our kids are playing volleyball. She,
Volleyball.
yeah, the commonality is a
Yeah.
comfort, is a trust
Yeah.
that we all have something in common, right? So yeah. So, probably don't want that recording because we went off track a lot.
What? You
Um,
didn't skip to there, you didn't stick to the.
Yeah. Yeah. So. We talked about the system, so, just come up with your number a day, but it start with 10
Can we talk?
conversations,
I have a class
10
at 12 and then a meeting at 1.
contacts added,
May I just start my class so late? 'Cause
10 handwritten notes.
I just-
I'll say that.
I'll
something
know.
that
What's going on?
gets a lot of attention.
Oh.
Like people who don't do it anymore, so when you do it, it feels really good. And they will call you and say, "I got the note."
Like the whole letter type thing, or just like.
Yeah, like a little stuff on, you mail it. Hey, I'd love to mail you something, can I get your address? And then the social media, so it's 10 likes. Or follows, 5 comments and 1 direct message a day.
Then like 5 follow.
Or shares.
Direct, so. That's me liking 10 things. Following 5 people, or they like, is that?
Yeah, so interactions with their posts, so liking or, and then 5 commenting or shares. And then 1 direct message.
And that's me.
Yes.
So me liking, me follow me, comment.
So you don't have to be the content creator. To get success on social media. You need, because we talked about this with the buyer and seller appointment, is it about?
Yeah.
So when you create content on social media, is it about you or them? No, when you create content on social media, who's it about? What we're doing?
What we do.
It's about you, right? When you go comment on someone else's post, who's it about? So that'll get you more interactions. By the way, do I need to stop the YouTube?
Yeah, I'll do it, all right.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah. I'm not a big content creator, but I try to go. I love how Facebook now does all the happy birthdays in one thing. Go in there and do it.